How you doing, folks? This is Sean McVeigh, Sean's Outdoor Adventures. I am saying that because I believe I am live. Yes, it looks like it's working. I'm going live. This is a total impromptu live stream. I haven't done a live stream in quite a long time. I was going to record a quick video on this Bear Cruzer 2. I just ordered and purchased this for my son. I've got 4 kids. I have a Diamond Edge SB1, and now I've got this. Hey, Aiden, what's up? Aiden Losh. Nice to have you on live. I'll talk some more about this in a minute because I'm sure there's going to be some more people jumping on. SMC Lawn Care. What's up? How are you doing? Hey, what's going on, Chris? I see you jumping on there. CJE Outdoors. That's Chris Bannister from Pennsylvania. The Huntsman. What's up? Evening all. Flatland Whitetails. How you doing? Flatland Whitetails. Where you tuning in from? Where's Flatland Whitetails guys coming out of? If you hear me say that, let us know. Powers 01. How you doing? You recently got into hunting and found my channel the other day. You love the content and my openness to my faith. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Praise the Lord Jesus. I try to live the way as if I'm standing before God, and He is my judge, and I try to be reflective of that. Okay, so you're coming out of Kansas. All right. Hey, I was talking to a guy. A guy came to talk to me at church today. Shane, he is actually from Kansas. So I asked him if he does any hunting. He never did any whitetail, just other stuff. So we got someone tuning in from New Orleans. How you doing, Ryan? My Philadelphia Eagles will be playing you guys this coming weekend. It should be interesting. You guys blew us out hardcore last time. So I think isn't that where the Saints are from? I don't even know. Hello from Texas. What's up, Richard? We got Jace. What's up? Jace from Jace Outdoors tuning in there. Wow, they're starting to go so fast. I'm having a hard time keeping up. Will, how you doing, man? Will's just tuned on, and if you don't subscribe to my Map Reading Challenge YouTube channel, Will's video, his episode aired today. So make sure you get over and check that out. Kansas hunts are great, the huntsman said. Northeast Ohio is where he's coming out of. Ohio's got some great hunting. And so that's Will's from Ohio. Daniel McBride, what's up? From Indiana. All right. You're not too far away. Scott's tuning in from Virginia. Oh man, we got all kinds of great people tuning in. Thanks everyone for jumping on. I said this when I first was opening up, and I'll repeat myself. I was actually going to record the video just like an unboxing. I ordered this, it wasn't given to me. I paid for it. I ordered this for my son. It's a Bear Cruzer G2. I have a Diamond Edge SB1, and I thought, let me get this bow because I've got 4 kids and they're all going to need bows. So I figured I got the Diamond Edge. I'll set one of them up with that. I'll get this, but then I'm going to do a whole bunch of comparison videos because these are bows that a lot of people are buying, especially a lot of new people to hunting and archery. And I thought it would be real nice to really go through them real thoroughly, break it down, talk about tuning, talk about the differences, because this bow has a lot going on that's different than something like the Diamond Edge SB1. So for example, you have a double yoke system. You have a yoke on this end, the cable yoke on this end. The cable goes from one cam to the limbs on the other side. And with the double yoke system, you can control cam lean. So something like the Diamond Edge SB1, it does not have that kind of a system. So the cable goes from one cam to the other. The cams are slaved together. And you have no ability there's no yoke system as far as compensating for cam lean. The only way to adjust or deal with cam lean on a bow like that is there are shims in the cams here. You actually have to take the C-clamps off, take the axle out, and put different shims in. It can be a little bit of a pain. I don't like having to deal with that. I do like the bows that have this adjustability. And let's see, where is it? Let me grab a bow. Hold on. So this is the Bowtech. This is the Rain 7, which I got last year. This operates on the same type of a system. It has a double yoke system on either end, and it's not bad. It's not a bad system. I do find, at least with the Bowtech, that I'm having to tweak it, to keep it in tune quite regularly, like several times throughout the year. It's not like you set it and forget it kind of a thing. So, there are some advantages and disadvantages. You can control the cam lean easier with the double yoke system. Sometimes you have, it all depends on the bow and stretching of cables and stuff. But yeah, it can result in extra tuning. So let me go over and look. There's so many people chiming in on the chat here. Cameron Miller, he's got the Diamond Edge, is a great starter bow. That's what he uses. And Gunnar Shinek, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You got your doe with your Diamond Edge SB1 this year. Congratulations. So looks like there's some questions going back and forth. At this point, I am going to say, if you have any specific questions for me, go ahead and post them now. Now that I am looking at the screen here, I'm going to try to field a few questions before we tune off for tonight. Again, this was just a little bit of an impromptu. I was excited to get this out of the package while I'm waiting for a couple questions. And make sure you use a question mark at the end of your sentence so I can see it easier, because there's so many things coming up through the chat that it's hard to see. Andrew Penzi is texting me right now. I think he can't get on the chat. I don't know. Hey, Jerry, I see you're on there. What's going on, brother? Are you a Christian or a Catholic? I am both, my friend. The first Christians were and are Catholics. So the word Catholic means universal. It's the word that was given to the universal church that encompasses everyone in the whole wide world. So Christians who are Catholic are members of the universal church. We're not Lutherans. We don't follow Martin Luther. We're not Baptists. We don't follow, whatever that tradition is. We are Roman. Well, I'm a Roman Catholic. A Catholic is universal church, which means it's for everyone. God's church is for everyone. We follow Jesus Christ. Have you shot the Obsession? No, you know what? I've had such a hard time getting to shoot Obsession. The last couple years, I emailed and called them, asking them if they could help me, find a way to shoot their bows, and they just won't even work with me on that. So I don't know what to say. It's up on that. So, got any good jerky recipes for deer? That's from John. I have a few jerky recipes, but none that really I think are awesome. I just got some new stuff to be testing out. I'm going to try a few things this year, and I will maybe post a video if I come up with something that I really like. But if anybody else wants to post it in the chat here for John, let him know. How many bow bucks have you recovered? All of the bucks I ever shot were with a bow. So there's only been a very few that I haven't recovered, and those were unfortunate situations, but I've recovered a lot. So I don't even know how many bucks. So a good number. Let's see. Any other questions? What is the giveaway for? Sorry, I missed that part. I'm not doing a giveaway. I didn't. I got a bow for my son, and I was just talking about that. So I'm not quite sure if somebody thought I was doing a giveaway. Okay, you're just beginning to shoot a bow. Any tips? Yeah. So one of the biggest things for shooting is I would say, create a routine that you're doing the same thing every time. A lot of archery is repetition, and if you can duplicate it from one shot to the next, it's going to help with your consistency. One thing to try to do is keep this hand relaxed. Don't grip the bow hard, and don't hold your hand out like that, because you can get your fingers in the way if you're shooting with a broadhead. Just relax your hand there, and then find a real solid anchor point. I like to put my hand in my jaw like that when I'm using a wrist strap style. If I'm using a thumb release, a grip, I put my knuckles right behind my jaw, but you want a solid anchor point that you can do every time. So those are a couple tips for you. Any tips for bow hunting from a ground blind? You know, bow hunting from a ground blind, the key is, you know, having the wind work out for you. So if you can find setups where the wind is going to be in your advantage, you're going to be on a downwind side of where the deer are traveling, that's an ideal scenario. So like when I was in Pennsylvania and I hunted ridges and stuff, and if I was going to use a ground blind, I'd try to set up on a steep ridge so the deer couldn't come behind me. They couldn't circle downwind of me. They had to go out in front of me. So if you can find funneling areas where you can keep the deer out in front of you with a ground blind, that's going to be a big help. Which bow to purchase for the best price point? You know, if you're getting into archery and it's sort of a beginner, a lot of these style bows like the Diamond Edge SB1 or the Bear Cruzer G2, these are good bows. They're not your flagship bows, so they're some of the components are, you know, made with plastic as opposed to aluminum, you know, so they do cut a few corners here and there, but overall they're still a nice product. And I think if you're just starting out, these are some good bows worth looking at. Let's see. It says King Camp giveaway in the title. Oh, so someone said there's King Camp, says King Camp giveaway. You know what? That is just the last time I did a live stream was with that. Let me just correct that then. So yeah, the last time I did a live stream, I guess it just remembered all that, and so that's why it's all in there. So I don't know if it's going to automatically save that, but I just typed over that. I don't go live a lot, so I didn't even notice that. So sorry about that, guys. What's the best release for PSE bow? 332 feet per second. 70. I mean, the release. Let's see. You're used to an old school recurve. I just lost it. It just went off the page there. When it comes to a release, it really depends on your personal preference. If you're going to be videoing your own hunts, I like the hook style release. Like so it just hooks onto the D loop, right like that. I can just hook it right on there, and you're good to go. So when you're filming, you know, you're working the camera, and then you want to be able to click it on there real quick. The other kind of release, you have to pull the trigger, and it has like a opening mouth thing, and then you have to like watch what you're doing. If you're hunting, you got to take your eye off the deer. I kind of don't like those. Another style is a handheld release. I really like this one. It's a Spot Hog Whippersnapper. So that one you can hang there. I love this release. So just a personal favorite of mine. That's a good release if you want to try that out. Let's see what else we have here. Any other questions popping up? Is public land or should I really focus on finding some private land for next season? I'm in Ohio. It really depends on how much hunting pressure you're going to get. If you can get out a lot in the early season, I've had a lot of great success on public land. Sometimes as you get into the rut, the hunting pressure can get pretty hectic and it makes it tough. So it really depends on your area. If you know that the hunting pressure isn't going to be too bad on the public land, it's still worth it. And I've harvested bucks on public land in the rut. Like this buck here, public land, that was the early season. Let's see, where's another one I'm thinking of? Which buck is it? This buck right here, PA, public land, heavy pressured area, middle, you know, in the rut. So great success. This was public land in the rut in Iowa. So I have had success on public land, even in the rut, even when there's a lot of guys out, but it really is going to depend. If you can, I would knock on some doors, you know, some farmers, or like for me, I'm big into going to church, as a lot of you know. I have asked around church, and I have gotten so many offers for properties this year just from people at church. If you go to church and you know people, or even if you don't, but they're used to seeing you, start asking around. That's a great place, because those are your brothers and sisters in Christ, and they're oftentimes more likely to help you out than just a stranger. So, okay, Alec, what's it say here? Hey, Sean, my site housing is maxed out all the way down, and my 20 pin in the middle of the site, and I don't have room for 30 or 40 to 50. What should I do? Well, one, if you can move your 20 pin up, that's gonna, I mean, that's actually what it sounds like you need to do. If your 20 pin's in the middle and you can't get your 40 and 50 pin, you're simply gonna have to move that 20 pin up in the housing and make room. So that's really, you're just gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to, if you want to work with the way everything's set up there. Let's see. Any more questions here? Hold on, I gotta scroll down. Have you done any research on the Knock to It releases? No, I have not. I have not done any research on those. Let's see if I see it. What is your opinion on fall away versus whisker biscuit rests? Let me turn this phone off for a minute so I don't get any more distractions. I personally prefer a drop away over the whisker biscuit for me. This bow has a whisker biscuit. This is good for kids. Now, I have a 31-inch draw. So that means when I shoot an arrow, there is a lot of flex to that arrow. And what I have found when I'm trying to use a whisker biscuit is because of the amount of flex going into the arrow, and by the time it's still trying to recover, I get too much awkward fletch contact to where the arrow sometimes isn't coming through perfectly like this. It's coming through, it's still recovering on a little bit of an angle because of that flex. And I just didn't like it for me for the long draw length. So you do have, more, even when it's all tuned up right, you have more fletch wear. So it really comes down to a personal preference. I would prefer the hostage style rest, which is, it's a rounded rest that has like 3 touch points. The arrow still drops in there, but you don't have 360 degrees of bristles. It's just at the 3 touch points. So I would use something like that if I was going with that style. That's just me personally. But a lot of people love their whisker biscuits. So, I mean, if you don't shoot a lot, that's still a good option. But I shoot so much, you just would you would wear your equipment out a lot. You'd wear the bristles out a lot. You'd wear your fletchings out a lot. And that's just a lot of replacement. Okay, Natalie is a beginner. How long stabilizers do you recommend? As far as stabilizer goes, I think one of the key things is, what's your use? Are you going to be hunting? Do you want to shoot in tournaments? If you're going to be shooting in tournaments, what class are you going to shoot in? Bow hunting class in tournaments, in like IBO, your stabilizer cannot be more than 12 inches away from where it attaches to the bow. So you want to be within that. If you're shooting the unlimited class, then it can be as long as you want. So stabilizers are intended to help you balance the bow. So if you think somebody tightrope walking and they got a big bar in their hands, that helps them stabilize. So the longer your stabilizers in different directions, the more it helps to balance the bow for you. So it's going to depend on your use. Now, I hunt, and I just did a video and released it on this Bee Stinger sidebar stabilizer rest. I normally have a quiver on my bow. I don't have it on there right now. But this sidebar stabilizer, I have it set up so that there's weight here. My quiver has weight, and it makes the bow want to go like this. This sidebar stabilizer helps to bring the weight back. It keeps my bow balanced. And then having this 15-inch stabilizer, it still kind of balances the bow as if, like I was talking about, like you're tightrope walking. So I like this for hunting because it doesn't go too far out here. I could shoot bow hunter class if I wanted to in like an IBO 3D shoot. If I'm in a ground blind, it's not so far out that it's going to be interfering with the ground blind real bad when I'm trying to shoot out of it. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're going to hunt and you're going to shoot out of a ground blind, you don't want it coming out too far. But the more stabilizer you have, the more it does help you balance and hold the bow steady. That's the intention of it. So I would consider something like this if you're hunting. I really do like these for hunters. That's my preference. But, you just got to see what your bow is and then get something that's going to balance it out. When you get a bow like this, a lot of times the stabilizers that come with this don't have any weight to them, so they don't really do a whole lot for you. This stabilizer here, I think it's like 12 ounces or something. I can't even remember now, but it adds weight to your setup. But I'm not afraid to add weight because having more weight actually helps me hold steadier. Sometimes with a really light bow, it's a little harder to hold steady, so don't be afraid of adding a little bit of weight. hope that answers your question. Do you feel, or do you like full metal jacket arrows? That's Brian's asking that question. I mean, they're okay. A lot of people like them and use them. I don't particularly use them, but I don't have any problem with them. Let's see. What's best release? It's hard to say what the best release is. I don't have one that I super like as far as the wrist strap. My favorite handheld one is the Spot Hog Whippersnapper. I really like it. It's got a nice crisp release. You can adjust it to, if you want it to go easier, you can. But I've just really enjoyed this release ever since I got it. So yeah, I like that release. What do I prefer? Cable or limb fall away rests? Okay. I'm holding my bow this year. Right now I have a QAD Ultra Rest HDX drop away. It is a cable driven or cable activated rest. I have had limb drivers, which are limb driven. I have had these cable driven rests fail on me a few times now. This year I lost out on the biggest buck of my life because I had a ripcord ace that failed on me. But you know what? And I'm gonna give some props to the ripcord company. I'm not gonna badmouth them. I'm just saying that happened. But I contacted them and they said full lifetime warranty. Send it back to us and we'll replace it. So I sent it to them. They're gonna send me a new one and I'll check it out. It's their newer version. That replaced the ace. So these cable driven ones do seem to fail after a while. And I've had other people say they've had them fail on them. Now, I did have a limb-driven one before, and what would happen is this cord that would go to the limb would wear out over time where it would get tightened into the rest. And maybe it was just that particular model. That was a limb driver. I had a different limb driver it was the Micro Elite, I think it was called, or Micro something, and it had a bar that came out here. When the bow would go off, that bar would hit my hand, and I had to get rid of the rest because I was sick of it hitting. It hurt. This buck, I don't know if you can see. Let me angle this over here for a second. This buck on the top here, that 8-pointer on the end, just the rack on the wall. I shot that in New York. And I wish I could just send you the link right now, but I shot that with that particular limb driver rest, and you could see it when I was holding it full draw because I was using my hat camera, and you could see that. So I think the limb drivers sometimes are more reliable as far as because they're getting yanked down. Unless that cord breaks, it's going to go down for you. These, you're relying on the inner workings of the rest for it to go down, and if those inner workings fail on you, you're out of luck, and that's what happened to me this year. Okay. How early do you begin scouting your deer in the summer and placing cameras? I begin scouting deer during hunting season. As soon as the hunting season's over, if I can break away and go for a walk in the snow or when all the leaves are down, I like to just track the deer throughout the year. Usually for me, turkey hunting, and here's my turkey tail I got with Jace Outdoors right over there this past spring. Usually when I'm turkey hunting, I end up deer scouting. It turns into, I'm just so obsessed with deer that it takes over. Even like I've got these bear on the other wall back over here, like right there, these bear rugs. Even bear hunting, I don't even actually care. I'm just so into deer that I just don't even get into, even when I'm out like bear hunting, I'm still thinking about deer. So every time I'm out, I'm in the woods, I'm pretty much scouting. I'm always analyzing the deer. But if I didn't do that, I would say get out there. See, one thing about getting out in the spring, like turkey season, is the foliage isn't in yet. You can see the main deer trails, especially if you're in a new area. When everything grows in, you can't see that stuff real well. Makes it hard. As far as setting up cameras, I now usually wait till the end of June. The end of June is when you got a good bit of antler. You can tell what you're dealing with. And, so you got an idea. Like earlier than that, let's say you throw them out in April or May, you just have nubs. You don't know if you're looking at a 4-pointer or a 10-pointer, So by the end of June, though, you usually have enough antler there to know if you're dealing with a shooter or not. Okay, let's see what else we got. Let's see. Also, do you recommend any good books that will help me study the strategies of scouting and preparing for the season? That's Powers oh 01. I'm sorry I don't have it done yet. I started to write a really good book for people like you this past year, and I ran out of time. I haven't finished it yet. But stay tuned to my channel because I'm really proud of how that book is coming together. Like, praise the Lord, because I think God's helping me with that. But I'm just going through so much detail for people who are new at hunting, all the different things to think about going into the season and getting ready and scouting. So I'm working on one. I'm sure there's other books out there. You know what? You could even subscribe to like a bow hunting magazine, and the articles they put in there, you can gain some good information from that. You know, especially as you go through the summer, they're going to start throwing out tips for scouting and stuff. That's what they'll be doing. So maybe consider looking into something like that. Would you ever try to hunt hulk or mule deer? And I think he probably meant elk. Yes, actually, I am planning to do an elk hunt in a couple years. I've been talking to a couple of my friends about that. So we were thinking maybe in 2020, maybe do an elk hunt. I did get invited by a viewer. I don't know if he even still watches my channel. There was a guy I think he was from Virginia this past year, who invited me to Wyoming to do a mule deer antelope hunt with him. And I was going to go with him. But then then all this happened. Now I moved to Iowa. I was like, I can't do it. I can't take this new job and then take off for a week, and it just got to be too much. But it is on my radar. I do plan to do some stuff like that up in the future when that opens up. Next year, I think I'm going to focus on deer hunting in Iowa a lot. One of the exciting things is, well, I'm just going to keep it a secret till next season. But I have some exciting things in the works, folks, right now. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited to tell you about that. But I've got a lot coming up for Iowa next year that I'm so excited about, even right now, that I'm going to put a lot of energy into hunting here, probably in my new home state. And then the year after that, maybe that's when we'll start looking for other stuff like mule deer and elk. Let's see here. Let's see. Do you prefer a carbon arrow or an arrow like the Easton FMJ? I just use carbon arrows myself. Are there any signs to be on the lookout for when scouting and looking for their patterns? Well, you want to look for trails and fresh tracks into trails. I also look for deer scat more than anything else. A lot of people go out looking for buck rubs. I know there's bucks in the woods. I know there's good bucks in the woods. More important to me is deer scat. I'm looking for areas that are providing food sources. And the food sources are where the deer are going to be, and they're going to be pooping on the ground there. So when a deer is frequenting an area a lot, you're going to see old deer scat that's even getting mold growing on it, and fresh deer scat. That's a good spot, folks, because that's showing you that the deer are coming back there over a long period of time. So I like to look for scat and for feeding areas, and then I try to identify bedding areas as well. I don't always look for the beds themselves because sometimes they're in thick areas, but I look for the thickets where deer could feel secure in bedding. You always have the best and honest advice, Sean. Have watched almost all your videos, bud. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Mad No Rider. Appreciate that. And Brian, thanks for following my Catholic channel as well. I really appreciate that. That's nice to hear. I'm going to be cranking out videos on that again. I kind of took a break from it to build up my Sean's Outdoor Adventures channel over these past 5 years. But I'm going to try to start putting some videos out on the Catholic channel. Sean with Jesus is my screen name on that. I haven't put videos up, so it might be... If you typed in youtube.com/Sean with Jesus, all one word, you'd find that channel. Let's see. What's your opinion of the EZV site, if you're familiar with it? I haven't messed with one, and I mean, the people that use them like them, but I've looked at them, and I prefer a pin. I want to... If the deer's... I use a rangefinder. and I usually range the distances in my stand, or I range the deer. And then I like to have that pin on that deer. I know it's on. I just feel a little weird about that whole system. I mean, it works. I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Garrett at Do-It-Yourself Sportsman, DIY Sportsman. He just did a video on that, and I think he's going to be using that in the upcoming season. I don't think I'll be using something like that, though. I prefer the pins. I am used to it. I'm comfortable with it. I'm going to stick with what I know I like. So, but the people that are using them, some of those people, they really like them. So I think it's up to you. Do I miss hunting in PA? No. Hunting in PA for me was a lot of strain, hard work, and when I'm trying to produce videos for people to watch, it made it hard because there would be times where I would do everything you could possibly do right and not see deer, and that could go on for weeks. Where I lived, the deer population wasn't particularly high. I harvested 6 deer this year in Iowa, and I only hunted maybe once a week. I didn't hunt a whole lot. And I got 6 deer, and I would see deer almost every time I went out. So it was just so nice. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you work so hard and you go out and you don't see anything, it's not enjoyable. And the other thing for me is I'm trying to produce videos for you. And I feel called to this. I'd like to grow this. And I would talk to God about it. And I said, God, I feel as though you're calling me to do this. And I also don't feel like I'm in a good state to do this. And if you were to ask me, where would you want to live, Sean? My answer would be Iowa. So I just said to God, look, if it's possible for us to somehow move to Iowa, I'd love for that to happen. And I honestly, that was me being honest to God, and I didn't expect it to happen. But look at what happened. I'm standing in Iowa, getting to hunt in a state that I always wanted to live in to hunt, but I'm also getting to do the job I've been wanting to do for many years, which is a job working for the church, helping people grow in their faith. I mean, I am living my dream, folks. So I don't miss hunting in PA in that regard. And I would say there may be times that I do miss some of the places that I would be alone in the mountains that were just gorgeous. I guess I could say I miss that. But that was just actually being in an area of nature that was beautiful and pristine and serene, and nobody was around, even though the hunting wasn't good. So in that sense, I miss areas of Pennsylvania, but not necessarily the hunting, because the hunting really wasn't good in some of those areas. So hopefully I answered that question. Let's see. Will you be hunting Ohio again? I might. I don't know. It's a long drive right now, and I don't want to give up Iowa hunting again to hunt Ohio. I did that this year, and it kind of was a little painful to do. Drive 11 hours away from Iowa to go hunting. So I don't think, for deer anyway, I'll be going to Ohio anytime soon. There's just great hunting out here in Iowa, Missouri. Hey, I got to check out Missouri. I got to check out Wisconsin. I got friends in Illinois. I mean, there's some great hunting out here, and I just don't know if I'll be making it over to Ohio again soon. Let's see. So L&S Outdoors said he hunted every day he could from October through January 6th and only got 2 bucks and a doe. Went weeks and didn't see a deer here in Virginia, and he was sitting 4 days a week. And I can relate. That's the East Coast hunting for you, folks. I mean, guys, it's hard hunting, and those of you who do it like I did for so long, good, stick at it. It's hard work, and it's rewarding when you get them. But the other thing too is, when I would get deer like these, I was happy because I knew how hard I worked for it. I would go into the season, wanting, like, here, let me grab my Iowa buck here. I would go into the season, wanting, I want to shoot something nice and big, but by the time the season would go on and on, just struggling. Let me see if I can get this one off the wall here. That one's too tight. Look, I'm making a mess now. But you know, something like this 8-pointer that I've now like messed up my little metal hoop, so it's gonna fall over. Something like that, I was happy with it because of how hard I had to work just to harvest that. So those of you who live on the East Coast, you know, that's my encouragement to you is don't let TV or Midwest videos, you know, make you disappointed with the deer you harvest, because you guys are working hard, you and girls, you're working hard, and there are deer like this out there. They're harder to come by though. You know, like deer like this, you know, these are much more common out here. If you saw my Iowa hunting video when I came out a couple years ago and harvested this buck here, I was passing bigger bucks than this multiple times a day, every day. And it was the very last night of the hunt, and this guy came by, and I was like, okay, I'm not going home empty-handed, I'll shoot him. But I passed much bigger. I passed bucks that were closer to this for a whole week. And the point is, you know, you just have more opportunities out here. And that was hunting public land. So anyway, I'm just giving you guys some encouragement who are hunting out there. And I am going to be wrapping up here in a minute because I was going to sit down and watch a show with my wife. It's, let's see, what time is it? It's almost 9 o'clock, and we were going to sit down. She's got some work she's doing on the computer. And so I'm going to wrap it up. And I want to thank all of you who've been tuning into my videos. I want to thank you for staying tuned to this live broadcast. And I apologize for the confusion on the giveaway up front. However, for those of you who are tuned in right now, I am going to be doing some giveaways on the Map Reading Challenge channel. If you're not already subscribed to that, make sure you look it up and subscribe. I'm going to be doing an XOP tree stand giveaway, maybe even some other stuff. And I'll probably be doing another giveaway on this channel sometime in the near future. You know, I'm getting close to 60,000 subscribers, and I was thinking maybe when I get around 60,000, maybe do another giveaway. There probably will be King Camp. Actually, I got a box full of King Camp stuff today. Actually, 4 boxes arrived from King Camp, and I've got a notification that more are coming tomorrow. But I already gave those away to some people locally here. But the point is, I'm going to probably be doing another giveaway in a not too distant future. Have I hunted Indiana? I just saw that question. I have not hunted deer in Indiana. When I wrote my first book called I've Got to Change, I was out in Indiana for a guest speaking event at a Catholic church, and there was the publishing company that I was dealing with at that time, my rep. He knew I was into hunting, so he took me out squirrel hunting because it was squirrel season. So that was a lot of fun. So I have squirrel hunted in Indiana. J.R. Harris, shout out to you if you're out there. He's the one who took me. And I was asked if there are any bow reviews this year. Yes, I'm going to be doing bow reviews. I actually have been contacting a couple places locally here, trying to line those up. So over the next month or two, I am hoping to start recording my bow reviews. And now that I'm settled, last year I was in the process of moving here, so it kind of got cut short. But now that I'm settled, hopefully I'll be able to, you know, give at least the conclusion video, get a little more detail in there than last year. Where did I hunt public land in Maryland? A lot of in Green Ridge State Forest in Western Maryland. This buck that I harvested last year, I usually didn't tell people where I was hunting, but now that I'm gone, I don't mind telling you. Green Ridge. Bring bear pepper spray if you ever hunt Western Maryland, because the early years of the Map Reading Challenge, those of you who watched them and all Andrew Penzie, all the bear encounters, there's actually way too many bear out there in Western Maryland. So play it safe if you go out west there. You ever think about in-town hunting? If you're talking about, you know, suburban and urban hunting, yes, I did. That's the bulk of the hunting I did this year. I did in the urban hunt, because by the time I was able to get my hunting license here in Iowa, all the doe tags were sold out. So I had to qualify to hunt in the urban zones to be able to shoot doe in those areas. So I'm guessing that's what you're asking. So anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to sign off, and I want to conclude by saying thank you for just thanks for being here, you know, and thanks for being a part of my life and supporting what I do. And I just say God bless you. I'm going to figure out how to stop this thing. It's been a while, so okay, here's the stop button. Again, thank you guys. God bless you. Be safe out there. Happy New Year. Stay strong with your New Year's resolutions, and we'll talk to you soon. Hold on, I'm hitting the wrong thing here. There it is. There's the stop button. All right, guys.